I was really devastated with grief.
Alice Ball Breuer had settled into a wonderful life when suddenly her husband John Ball was diagnosed with kidney disease.
I thought, God, you have to help me. I opened my Bible and I said, God, you have to give me something to hold on to. I cannot do this. I have 2 small children. Please give me something that I can hold on to. And so as I opened my Bible, my eyes literally fell on John 14:27.
Alice's husband John began dialysis, and the family lived as normally and joyfully as they could.
So all of a sudden, that came to a halt because John started having memory lapses. And so we started questioning the doctors, and we kept on and kept on till finally the doctors sent him to a mental institution to cover up the human errors they had committed. And the grief there was so hard because here I was leaving the love of my life at a mental institution. I had an hour and a half's drive back home. And as I was driving back, I was trying to console myself with this peace. So I said, well, I'll repeat the Lord's Prayer. So I started out, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And all this anger and all this fear welled up within me. And I said, but God, I want my husband back just like he was. And all of a sudden, I felt something on the inside of me say to me, I will be with you.
John was able to return home, and the family lived as well as they could, despite his deteriorating health. That all changed when Alice, who left for a business trip, received a phone call that her husband had died from a heart attack.
And all I could think of was my children, so I cried the whole way home. But when I got to my children, I said, God, you have to give me something to say to them. So I opened my mouth and I said, Daddy has gone to heaven to be with Jesus. I don't know why, and I don't understand. But I do know that God has a plan and a reason for everything.
Alice says she was immediately thrown into the stress of providing for her 2 children and the grief of losing her husband.
So we have that hope in Christ that when we lose loved ones here, that we will see them again. And death is such a void for here on earth. And so what you have to do is you have to find other things to help you get past that void. And God will help you do that.
As the years passed, Alice knew she wanted to be married again.
I asked God if he would help me find somebody. So I started praying, like I prayed for John. And so I met Bruce, and we dated for a year and a half. And so God gave me the desires of my heart. Between the 2 children, we have 7 grandchildren, and they are awesome. And God has kept his hand on all of them. It's just a blessing.
Despite the pain, loss, and tragedy that Alice has experienced in her own life, she says she's thankful for the life she's been given.
For Bridges, I'm Rachel Markin.